In today's video, we'll discuss Jayson Tatum and how he's been playing amazing as of late. So without further ado, let's get into it. Jayson Tatum is now currently top 3 in the MVP race, and whether you agree with it or not, we think we can all agree he has been on fire this season. And that was to be expected due to how he and the Celtics lost to the Golden State Warriors in last year's finals. The 24-year-old took that personal, and it appears he is out for vengeance. The Boston Celtics are still the best team in the NBA. And while you can credit their defense and their elite three-point shooting, Jayson Tatum is without a doubt in the driver's seat. And they go as he goes.
Kicks it back out, Tatum for three, puts it in.
But now let's break down his game just to see how well he's playing statistically, starting with his finishing ability. Tatum is 10th in the NBA right now in shots within 5 feet from the basket, shooting 65% on 7 attempts per game. He scores about 7 points per game on drives alone, so he's been a godly finisher as of late. The reason he can get in the lane so easily is because of his great ball handling ability and quick first step. He's one of the better ball handlers in the NBA, and he can toy with defenders out on the perimeter for however long he wants, and then he uses his athleticism and explosiveness to burst by defenders. And once he gets inside the paint, you're at his mercy more times than not. Because let's not forget, he's 6'9" and weighs a solid 210 to 215 pounds. But his inside buckets aren't just the result of being tall. He's insanely skilled and has various moves and counter moves. And his Euro step has been crucial in his success at the rim as well. He's very quick and agile on his feet, which makes his Euro steps seem effortless. And he usually hangs the ball pretty low when he performs the move. So if the defender chooses to swipe down at the ball, it will most likely be a foul. And we all know how quick NBA refs are to blow their whistle. And Tatum knows that as well, and that's why he averages around 8.6 free throws per game. His ability to draw fouls is a huge part of his inside game, and while it may not always be fun to watch, he puts points on the board and wins ball games. He's just a force inside. Jayson is too skilled to be held by one player when driving to the rim one-on-one. When it comes to the mid-range, Tatum is lethal in this area too. And while he doesn't get to the mid-range as often as DeMar DeRozan or Kevin Durant or Devin Booker, he can be just as effective as those guys. And in this area, he heavily relies on fadeaways, which he can shoot out of post-ups or face-ups. He's an extremely tough shot maker. In fact, he's one of the best in the league, and we can't name many other players better than him when it comes to taking and making difficult shots. He has superb touch and arc, and combine that with his height and length, and as a defender, you just have to hope he misses. And when you know who he idolized growing up, it's no surprise he resorts to fadeaways in almost any scenario. He takes a lot after Kobe Bryant, and it's not hard to see the resemblance. Just like we mentioned with his finishing ability, it's his ball handling skills that create a lot of space in the mid-range, and he's one of the best in the NBA at creating space. At his height, he doesn't really need to do much to get his shot off. He can simply just rise up above you at any time. But if he is facing a tough defender, he has no problem getting them off balance with his ridiculous dribbling combinations. But now, on to his three-point shooting. Currently, Tatum is shooting 35% from 3 on 9 attempts per game. He's also shooting 40% on 4 attempts on catch-and-shoot threes, and he's also 13th in the NBA in pull-up shooting threes. So overall, he's been a good three-point shooter. And that really seems to be the theme for the entire Celtics roster, because they are still one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. They're also one of the best passing teams in the NBA, with good playmakers such as Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart, Derek White, and high IQ passers and ball movers like Al Horford and Blake Griffin. This allows Tatum to get tons of open looks from 3, and he doesn't ever really have to take on a huge offensive load, because if he's struggling and they need a big bucket, they have Jaylen Brown, and if he's exhausted and can't run the offense, they have Smart, Brogdon, and Derek White. So there is literally no better team to be on if you're Jayson Tatum. The organization did a fantastic job at building and drafting around their superstar. And we know Tatum has struggled from 3 over his last 6 to 7 games. But that's what comes with being a high-volume shooter, and let's be honest, Tatum could shoot 20% from 3 and still average 30 points. He's too good. Now let's take a peek at his playmaking, which has drastically improved from his first few seasons in the NBA. He's averaging 4 assists per game right now, and he's even second on the roster in potential assists with 7.5, while also being second on the team in assist points created. So he's become one of the Celtics' most reliable playmakers, and he showed that ability in last year's NBA Finals in Game 1 when he finished with 13 assists. He struggled offensively and couldn't get a shot to fall, so instead of chucking up bad shots, he gave his teammates open looks all game long. And we preach this on our channel a lot. Your superstar has to be able to make and facilitate an offense. Otherwise, they're one-dimensional and easier to contain. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, LeBron, Durant, Giannis, Luka Doncic, and Stephen Curry are all good to great passers, and that's what makes them so dominant. And Tatum's averaged 6 assists over his last 4 games, so he's continuing to make the right plays. On January 5th versus the Dallas Mavericks, he finished the game with 10 assists, further proving how much better of a playmaker Tatum has become. But now let's shift our focus to the other part of his game that is just as solid as his scoring, finishing, and playmaking: his great defense. Jayson Tatum is one of the best wing defenders in the NBA, and it often goes under the radar unless you're specifically watching him play defense. One of his biggest defensive improvements is how well and fast he slides his feet. He almost always keeps a wide stance, which helps him move quicker laterally. And a lot of his defensive improvement comes from effort. We don't think we've ever seen Tatum take on tough defensive assignments like he has over the past 2 seasons. He now takes pride in locking up opponents. And when he's locked in, he's one of the most versatile defenders in the league, and he's a matchup nightmare for whoever he's on. And due to his great mobility, agility, athleticism, and length, he can defend point guards and shooting guards at a high level. And then he's 6'9" and pretty strong, so he has no problem defending forwards. He's also extremely disruptive and uses his quick hands to bother and alter shots. And he's a decent shot blocker too, and he's averaging 0.8 blocks per game, which is inside the top 30 among all forwards. And combine that with his 1.1 steals per game, which ranks him 22nd among all forwards. And although defensive rating isn't always the most reliable stat, he is ranked 25th. So yeah, he's an elite defender and doesn't get the credit he fully deserves. And honestly, we do. We understand why it often gets swept under the rug by most. He's so talented offensively and at scoring the basketball, it's hard to focus and talk about any other aspect of his game. But when you mention elite wing defenders like Jimmy Butler, Mikal Bridges, Herb Jones, Andrew Wiggins, OG, and Dylan Brooks, Tatum's name definitely belongs in the mix. And right here at the end of the defensive segment, it's good to mention that he's ranked 16th in the NBA in defensive rebounds. So he's just really good on the defensive end from top to bottom. Overall, the Celtics are in sort of a slump right now, and they're looking to get back on track after losing 5 of their last 9 games, including back-to-back blowout losses to the Denver Nuggets and Oklahoma City Thunder, who absolutely destroyed them 150-117. And their recent stretch of mediocre defense and tough losses has proven to be their first real test this season. And this is what Jayson Tatum had to say about that. Quote, "Please subscribe to NBA Swish and make sure you like the video and leave a comment." Alright, he didn't say that, but enough jokes. This is what he really had to say after their recent struggles. Quote, "I think it's on the first group. We've got to get back to our identity. When we're playing at the best and highest level, we would just play faster. That's some .5 basketball. Shoot it, pass it, or drive it. When we play like that, we're dang near unguardable. Making shots is part of that, so they go hand in hand." And he's right. In fact, after he said that, the Celtics won back-to-back games with Tatum scoring 29 and 34 in those games. Clearly, he meant what he said. But all in all, with Jayson Tatum putting up great numbers on the best team in basketball, it's going to be hard to keep him out of that top 3 or top spot in the MVP race. And if Nikola Jokic even slips off a little bit when it comes to performance and production, then don't be surprised to see the 24-year-old scoring machine sit at the top of the race sooner rather than later. But who do you think is the MVP at this moment? And feel free to comment down below if you think Tatum will win it this year. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.